Hello everybody and welcome to another episode. In today's episode I'm going to show you how to completely remove and replace the timing belt kit from any Audi A4 B8 out there with the engine 2.0 TDI. So in the previous video I showed you all how to remove the front bumper from this vehicle, and I'm going to put the link of that video in the description down below for you to check it out first. And in today's video I'm going to show you all how to replace the rest of the parts and how to remove the rest of the parts if you want to reach the timing belt kit on this vehicle and if you want to replace it on your car. So as you can see, the space is so small that even my hand can't go through. And if you want to remove the timing belt kit on this vehicle, there are two ways to do it. You have to remove either the entire front end of the vehicle and pull it forward to create more space to do it, or you can just remove the front radiators with the AC radiator and the intercooler. And after you remove all of these parts, you'll have access to the entire engine from the middle and from the center type, and you can just work from there. So this is what I'm going to do in my case. I'm going to remove all the radiators and all the hardware from the middle of the vehicle. Also, you'll have to remove this bull bar, which is held on the vehicle with 4 bolts. And after you remove it, you can just pull all the parts out from the car. From here, just follow what I'm doing. It's a very easy job to remove them. It is a little bit time consuming, but it can be done. I'm not going to show you step by step exactly how to remove all of these parts, because I'm assuming that if you want to replace or if you want to work on your timing belt kit, you already know how to work on the vehicles, how to remove and what you have to remove from the cars. So to begin the job, the first thing which you have to do is to obviously remove the front bumper. And after that, you have to remove the hoses which are connected to the radiators. You'll have 2 hoses at the top on this car, and you'll have 1 more in the right side at the bottom. And also after that, you have to remove this connector which is supplying the fans with power. After that, before removing the radiators, I recommend you to drain all the coolant from the system. You'll have one special plug right under the radiator, which you'll have to disconnect, or you can either remove the hose from the bottom part of the radiator and all the coolant will come out from the vehicle. Right here, as you can see, I disconnected the bull bar from the vehicle. I removed also the AC radiator from the coolant radiator, and I just let it hang on the lines. I recommend all to not disconnect the AC radiator lines, because if you do disconnect them, you will lose all the AC free one and you'll have no more AC in the vehicle unless you install a brand new AC free one into the car after that. And as you can see, I also removed the intercooler completely out from the vehicle. It was only mounted over the vehicle with 1 screw and 3 plastic clips and with the hoses from the corners. From here, the next step which I'm going to do is to remove the radiator completely out from the vehicle. And to remove it completely, like I did right here in my case, you'll have 2 plastic clips at the top, and after that you'll have also 2 more screws at the bottom, which were securing it mounted to the front side of the vehicle, and you can just pull it out. Right here is the first screw in the left side, and the second screw is right here in the exact same location, but in the right side. And after that, you can just pull it out completely. It will come out with the fans, so you don't have to worry about the fans. You can just pull the entire thing out and put it away. And after you finish all of this job, you will have to install it back in the vehicle, and you'll have to put a brand new coolant into the car and into the system. From here, as you can see, I have a lot of space and room to work with right now. I can just work on the timing belt. I can do everything I have to do on the vehicle in the front side of the engine. I can also replace the serpentine belt or something like that if I have to, because right now it's very easy. And also, if you want to replace the alternator on this vehicle, you can also do it from right here, because right now from this position you'll have a lot of room and space to work with. Alright everybody, so as you can see, this is how the timing belt is looking on this vehicle. It was not replaced for more than 5 or 6 years from what the owner told me. And in today's episode, I'm going to replace the entire timing belt kit. I'm going to replace also the serpentine belt with all the guidance pulley and with the tensioner from the serpentine belt. And if you want to remove the serpentine belt tensioner, you have first to remove the alternator out from the way. You have to disconnect the alternator and move it a little bit outside, because the bolt which is securing the tensioner from the serpentine belt to the engine, it's right under in the alternator. And if you don't push the alternator out from the way, it will be very difficult for you to reach the bolt and remove the tensioner. So right here in my case, I'm going to replace also the tensioner. I'm going to replace the guidance pulley, and I'm going to remove the alternator out from my way to reach the bolt, and I'm going to show you all exactly where the bolt is located and how I have to remove it or replace it. Also in today's episode, I'm going to replace both of the thermostats, the big thermostat from the cooling system and also the smaller thermostat, because this vehicle have 2 thermostats. And also I'm going to clean the EGR valve and the throttle body from this vehicle, so probably it will be a little bit longer than usual. And right here in this moment, the EGR valve and the throttle body are already removed from the vehicle, and I already replaced the big thermostat and the smaller thermostat. So this is what you have to remove if you want to reach the bigger thermostat and remove it. It will be a little bit difficult for you if you don't remove them. It's very impossible to do it with the EGR valve and with the throttle body installed on the vehicle, so I recommend you to remove them first and then work on the thermostats. Right here behind, I hope you all are able to see, this is the smaller thermostat with the metal clip on it. This is the second thermostat on this vehicle, and the bigger one is right here underneath the alternator. In my case, I replaced both of them already, and I already installed a brand new serpentine belt tensioner. And if you want to replace it, like I told you earlier, you'll have to remove this bolt from right here. It's mounted right here down underneath the alternator. And to remove this bolt, you'll have to use a 30mm wrench. Right here, as you can see in my hand, I have the bigger thermostat. This is the main thermostat for this vehicle and for any vehicle with the size 1.6 or 2.0 TDI common rail engine. And right here I have the smaller thermostat, which I replaced it. So this will be a complete job. This is the bigger thermostat and the smaller thermostat, which I replaced on this vehicle, just to be safe and just to know exactly that the job is done properly, and I'll have no problems in the future with the cooling system or something similar like this. Right here in this box, I have the entire kit for the serpentine belt. This is the other guidance roll, and right underneath I have the serpentine belt, which is brand new, made by SKF. Also right here in this plastic box, I have the water pump, which is made by HOWTODO, and in the right side I have the brand new timing belt kit, which is made by Continental. So with all of this thing being said, I will go ahead, I will clean the EGR valve and the throttle body, and then I'm going to install them back on the vehicle. And after that, I will continue working on the timing belt kit on this vehicle. Right here, as you can see, this is the EGR valve. It's not in a very good condition. It's a little bit worn out, but it can be cleaned and it can be saved. And right here, I have the throttle body, which I'm going to clean also. And right here, as you can see, the EGR valve and the throttle body are cleaned. They are in a very good condition. They are looking very good. And also, they are behaving and working like a new part. So this is the throttle body. It's working perfectly fine, as you can see. And right here I have the EGR valve, which I also cleaned the best I could, and I made it work and look like a new part. And right now I'm going to install them back on the vehicle. I will install also the alternator and all the parts which I removed, and I will continue working on the timing belt kit on this vehicle. Very good, everybody. Now it's time for me to work on the timing belt kit, and the first thing which you have to do is to remove the pulley from the crankshaft. You'll have 4 bolts which are securing it mounted in place, and you'll have to remove the 4 bolts and pull it out from the vehicle. If it's not coming out very easy, you'll have to hammer it a little bit left and right, up and down, and eventually it will come out from its place. After that, you'll have to remove the 5 bolts which are securing the protection for the timing belt kit mounted to the engine. You'll have also to pull the tensioner a little bit to the right to reveal the last bolt, and you'll have to lock it with a special tool. Very good, everybody. All the bolts which are securing the protection for the timing belt kit are out, and you can pull the protection out from the vehicle. And right here, as you can see on this vehicle, the water pump already started leaking. I'm not sure when it was starting leaking, but as you can see right here, it is a lot of coolant right here in this area. It's leaking for a while, for example. And right now in this moment, it's a very good time because I'm going to replace the entire kit for the timing belt kit. I'm going to install a brand new water pump, and I'm also going to fix the leaking problem for the water pump. And right now, the next step which you'll have to do is to put the engine into the top dead center or into the TDC. And to do so, you'll have to use some special tools which will help you to put it and block it in one position. And the first thing which you have to do is to turn the engine until some lines and some marks from the pulleys will fit perfectly with the tools for this kind of vehicle. I'm going to show you in a second exactly how you have to put it and what you have to do. Right here in my hand, I have the locking tool from the crankshaft, and it has a little arrow right underneath, and that arrow should be fitted perfectly over the arrow from the crankshaft pulley, and you have to put it perfectly into one hole from the engine. And after that, you will also have to lock the camshaft pulley from the top part, and also you have to lock the high fuel pressure pump from the right side at the top. If, for example, the pulleys from the top or the crankshaft are not aligned, if you can't put the locking tool into the hole properly, you'll have to put it first at the top. You'll have to remove the locking tool from the crankshaft. You'll have to turn the engine a little bit until it will fit the tool perfectly for the high fuel pressure pump and for the camshaft pulley. And after you remove the timing belt, you have to align the crankshaft just a little bit and put the locking tool perfectly into the hole and into the place. As you can see, in my case, for example, is not very well aligned. The timing belt is a little bit off. And in my case, I removed the pulley from the bottom. I removed the locking tool from the crankshaft. And I locked first the camshaft pulley from the top and also the high fuel pressure pump. And after that, we have to lock the crankshaft by rotating it a little bit. Or if it's not going in at all, you have to remove the timing belt kit and then you have to lock it with the tool. Very good, everybody. In my case, eventually I was able to put all the locking tools into the special position. I had to force a little bit the crankshaft because it was misaligned, but eventually I was able to do it. The tools are a little bit forced, but after I'm going to remove the timing belt, I'm going to align them properly and I'm going to make them slide in and out very easy. So from this moment, I hope you all are able to see exactly all the locking tools are into the position. The locking tool from the camshaft pulley for the high fuel pressure pump is locked perfectly, and also the locking tool from the crankshaft. Everything is locked, and from here the next step which you have to do is to disconnect the tensioner and remove the timing belt completely out from the vehicle, and with all the guidance pulley and the guidance rods from the engine. To begin with, you have to remove the bolt which is securing the tensioner mounted to the engine, and after that you have to use an Allen key to detension the tensioner, and you have to turn it anti-clockwise. After that, you have to remove the other pulleys which are mounted over the timing belt kit and over the engine, and then you have to remove the 3 bolts from the camshaft pulley. You have to undo them just a little bit because you have to make the camshaft pulley rotate freely left and right, and you have to also remove and loose up just a little bit the 3 bolts for the high fuel pressure pump pulley, because you have to make it also slide left and right very easy, because after you install the timing belt kit back on the engine, you have to make them slide and tension correctly. Alright everybody, so all the pulleys are removed from the engine, and from here the next step which you'll have to do is to remove the water pump from the engine, and you'll have 3 bolts which are securing the water pump mounted to the engine, and after you remove it some of the coolant will still be leaking, so I recommend you to put something underneath the car and catch the coolant. And after you remove it, you have to use a very fine sandpaper and clean the area where the water pump is touching the engine block, because you want to have a very clean surface and a very good contact, because you don't want to make the new water pump leak or something like that. After that, you have to remove the stud, which is for the tensioner and which is mounted into the engine block, and you have to remove it using a 2 nuts method. You have to tie 2 nuts together and you have to remove it. And after that, you have to install the new one, which is coming into the kit with the new timing belt, and you have to tighten it to 50 Newton meters. Another thing which I recommend you to do if you are doing a job like this one is to clean the area very good. You have to clean the engine area, the timing belt kit area, and in this way you'll know for sure that the job is done properly. And make sure to tighten all the bolts, all the nuts to spec. I'm going to put all the specs later in the video on the screen to tighten them properly, and in this way you'll know for sure that the job is done properly. You'll have no problems in the future. And in this episode, for example, I'm trying to make you a very understanding video. I'm trying to help you as much as I can, because this is a client car. I'm working as fast as possible because I don't want to make the people wait for a job too long. And I hope you all are able to see, and I hope you all are able to understand exactly what you have to do, how you have to do it, and how everything is working on this kind of engines. And from here, just follow what I'm doing. As you can see, the engine block is cleaned, everything is looking the best it could. And from here, I'm going to install the brand new parts back onto the engine. All the studs are in a very good condition. The water pump location is also very cleaned. Right here, this is the area for the stud, which is going to be installed later. Right here, as you can see, this is the locking tool from the high fuel pressure pump. And also the pulley from the high fuel pressure pump is moving left and right very easy, like it should be doing. And you have to struggle a little bit to put it in the middle of the screws. Also, the camshaft pulley, it's in a very good condition. It's moving left and right. And the locking tool is sliding in and out very easy, like it should be doing from the factory. And one very important thing which you have to do is to make all the locking tools and all the locking pins slide in and out very easy, because in this way you know for sure that the engine is placed correctly at the top dead center. Alright everybody, so from here I'm going to install back the stud for the tensioner and tighten it to 50 Newton meters. I'm going to install back the water pump and also tighten all the bolts to 50 Newton meters. And you have to use no silicone, no grease. You only have to put some coolant over the O-ring from the water pump, and you have to install it like this on the engine. So right here in my case, I'm putting it at 3 o'clock and I have to pull it until it will reach 6 o'clock. So right here from this moment, the big guidance roll is tightened perfectly to spec, and the next step which you have to do is to tighten also the stud for the tension roll to spec and at 15 Newton meters. Very good everybody. From here, the next step which you'll have to do and which I recommend all to do is to install back the timing belt. You'll have to put it first at the crankshaft and you'll have to put it in the correct position. You'll have to be able to read the manufacturer correctly from the front of the vehicle, and you'll have to put it first from the crankshaft. Then you'll have to pull it over the water pump, over the big guidance roll, and after that over the high flow pressure pump pulley, and like so over the camshaft, and then you have to put the tensioner and so on. From here, just follow what I'm doing because it's not a very complicated job, but you have to hold it and secure it correctly. Make sure to put a lot of tension because you don't want to skip a teeth or something like that. And after that, you can tighten everything back to spec. And another thing which I recommend you to do is to install the two smaller guidance roll at the end after you finish installing the timing belt kit over the engine, because if you install them right now, it will be more difficult for you to tension and install the timing belt. And if you install them at the end or after you finish installing the timing belt, it will be very easy for you to tighten them. It will be very easy for you to push and pull the timing belt over the camshaft. So this is only my recommendation, but feel free to try and see for yourself. Very good everybody. So as also right now the timing belt is installed back over the engine, is tensioned correctly on each side. There is a lot of tension. I installed also the tensioner and I placed it correctly into the hole from the engine. So you have to make sure that we install it correctly into the hole. And right now I'm going to install the two smaller guidance roll, one from the top and one from the bottom, and I'm going to tie them to spec. And after that I'm going to put tension over the timing belt and I'm going to secure it over the engine. After you finish installing the timing belt and all the guidance rolls and you tie them to spec, the next step which you'll have to do is to put tension over the tensioner. You'll have to rotate it clockwise until the arrow will be exactly fitted in the middle of the mark, and you'll have to tighten it by hand after you secure it in place. Then I recommend all to tighten all the bolts from the camshaft, the 3 bolts from the camshaft and the 3 bolts from the high flow pressure pump pulley. And then you'll have to rotate the engine at least 2 or 3 times, and then you'll have to put back all the locking tools and see exactly if they are going perfectly into the spot or into the mark. And if everything is going back very easy and nice, this is meaning that the job is done properly. This is meaning that the engine is placed correctly at top dead center or at TDC, and you can go ahead and tighten all the bolts and nuts one more time to spec, just to ensure that everything is how it's supposed to be done, and assemble everything back together over the engine and finish the job. And for example, if you want to rotate the engine a little bit easier and get rid of all of this force, you can just remove the glow plugs, and in this way all the compression will come out from the engine, and in this way you'll be able to rotate it a little bit easier. Okay everybody, so as also I rotate the engine at least 3 times, and right now I placed it back at top dead center or at TDC, and as you can see all the locking tools are going in and out very easy. Everything is aligned and is working perfectly, and from here I will check one more time all the screws, all the pulleys, and I will tighten them again just to make sure that everything is tightened and I don't miss anything. As you can see, the top part from the camshaft, the locking tool is going in and out very easy. Also, the locking tool from the high fuel pressure pump is going in and out very easy, so this is very good. And from here, like I said earlier, just check one more time all the parts and all the components from the engine and from the timing belt, and after that you can start the engine and you can install everything back together over the car, and that's it. Right now I'm installing back the crankshaft pulley over the crankshaft just a little bit because I want to start the engine, and because of that I don't want to make the belt from the crankshaft slip off. So by installing the crankshaft pulley you will secure it and hold it in place. So from here I'm going to start the engine just to check if everything is working perfectly or not, and after that I'm going to install everything back together over the engine. I will tighten all the bolts to spec, and I will come back when everything is done with the car. Very good everybody, so as you'll see, this is the first time when I'm starting the engine after the timing belt kit replacement. It was on camera, you all was able to see exactly how the engine started and how everything is working, and from what I can see everything is working like from the factory, everything is installed and is looking great. And from here I will install all the parts back over the engine, and I will come back to show you all after everything is finished. One more thing, I recommend you all to tighten the bolts from the crankshaft pulley to 10 Nm plus 19 degrees. Right here, the last thing which you have to do is to put back the new coolant into the system, and in my case I have a special tool to do it. This tool is removing all the air from the system and is putting a lot of pressure into it. And if, for example, this needle is going down, this is meaning that I have an air loss or a pressure loss and the coolant will leak if I put it into the engine. But in my case I have no leaks, everything is staying on like it's supposed to be staying. And right now if I turn this button on, it will put and it will release all the coolant from the bottle and it will put it into the system. So just look exactly right now. And from this moment, the coolant from the bottle is pulled into the engine because there is a lot of pressure which is pulling it back into the engine. And in this way, all the air is eliminated. I have no air into the system, so I don't have to wait for the coolant to breathe or to eliminate the air or something like that. So right now, I'm going to wait until all the coolant will go back into the system. It will automatically pull enough coolant to make it at the maximum level. And right now, as you can see, the job is done. This is how everything is working, this is how everything is looking, and as you can see, everything is mounted back on the vehicle, the timing belt, everything is looking like from the factory. And from right here, I will only have to add a little bit more coolant into the reservoir, and that's it. Thank you for watching. If you like the video about informative, please leave a like and a comment down below. See you next time.